feel like I would mention that life is the longest thing you'll ever do, and why would you waste that time having pumpkin? But anyway,
And on that note, I mean, we have a big holiday coming up. We are recording this before the Thanksgiving holiday. I don't know about you, John. I know that there are a few drinks likewise in my future as the holiday comes up as well. Are you leaving home for Thanksgiving? Are you going someplace, or are people coming to you? Or are you on an island this year? I can't remember.
well, I mean, as tempting as on an island sounds, typically, so I am so blessed that I get to have Thanksgiving twice a year. And
Really?
in a back-to-back fashion. Okay, wait. Sometimes 3 times a year, but we'll get to that in just a moment here. So typically what we do is we'll pack up the kids, my family, and we will go to my folks' place on Thanksgiving Day proper, and we will spend the day there. A lot of times we'll do a hunt in the morning. Myself and the old man will go out and see if we can't get into some critters.
You shooting turkeys, or?
No. It's not turkey season at that point. It's just deer season.
I wasn't sure if procrastination was at play there, or.
That'd be awesome. That would be awesome because I do love turkey hunting. But anyway, it's still small game season, so like rough grouse and whatnot, or as we call them, partridge, even though they're not technically partridge. Whatever, that doesn't matter. But it's deer season. That is usually one of the 1, 2, or 3 times I go out per year looking for deer. Other than that, I spend most of my time trying to hunt birds. But we will do some of that, which mostly involves going to breakfast, drinking some coffee, and then maybe sitting in the woods for a little while, then going back to my folks' place and getting into, as you may well know by now, a little bit of champagne. Because I mean, what's a holiday and or Friday and or any other day without a little bit of bubbles, right? So we will go down that path, spend the day cooking, hanging out, and drinking. And then I like to try to pair something with Thanksgiving dinner, which I think we should probably tear into just a little bit after we hear more about your Thanksgiving side. But that's kind of where I'm at. And then the next day, we pop over to my in-laws. We do it all over again. So I know some places get the holiday itself and then the next day off work. I don't usually, so as it turns out, I usually go to work that next day and then come back and do a second feast, which is just, it's tough work, but somebody's got to do it. I go and totally gorge again and get into some delicious wine, sometimes champagne, and then an after dinner cocktail, and kind of ease right into the weekend where maybe there's a little bit of whiskey involved. Just maybe. What about you?
Wow. So one question for you before I get going.
Oh, please.
In the Midwest, you can hardly leave anything without a pile of leftovers, whether you're, usually if you're just a guest, you're going home with leftovers, or, people are upset about it. So if you host the day before and then you go, are you bringing home, do you have turkey for 10 years after that? Or are you just Irish goodbye before the leftover tray comes out?
Oh, no. So I'm usually taking turkey 2 ways.
Okay. That should be a bumper sticker.
Yikes. I immediately regret saying that. But on top of that, so a lot of times what we do is after dinner is diving straight into things chucking into the stock pot, right? So it's whether we are putting the pot right on then or a little bit later, that's happening. Sometimes, and WeatherTech floor mats have saved my life here. Sometimes the turkey stock is one of the things that comes home with me the next day. And, depending on weather conditions and or driving, sometimes you spill some of that. And WeatherTech, yes, you do a great job in making floor mats that save you from having a gallon of smoked turkey stock in the floorboards of your vehicle. Anyway, moving on, I would say that, we totally take a pile of leftovers. And also, I am additionally blessed here in the Thanksgiving season to have my godparents who live close by and are very good in the kitchen and usually make their own special like leftover recipe that I will find dropped off at my folks' place for me that I can swing by and pick up as well. So I get to like take
Wow.
things away from one place, like at my folks' place, take that home with. I get to take stuff from my in-laws and bring that home. And then also my godparents deliver delicious treats as well. So I kind of like clean house on turkey season and I don't feel that bad about it.
All right. Well, I know it for sure. We are calling this episode Turkey Three Ways by John Henderson.
Heyo.
Your Thanksgiving sounds not better, but way more eventful than mine. I'm a hoster. I love to have people over. No real surprise there. We're a different. I don't know if it's Midwest different because I don't know if a lot of people do this. We like to smoke a turkey. So I'm out there early in the morning, getting the smoker going with a rotisserie, throwing the coals on, getting the bird on. Typically, people like to come up to Wisconsin. My wife's relatives, and her family all live down in Chicago. They'll usually come on up. We've gone down before, but after a year or two of smoked turkey and getting into the wine cellar, people seem to find their way up north,
They
which is
come on
fine
back.
with me. Yeah. People, they this year some folks kind of invited themselves back, which I'm flattered about. Happy to have them. So this year we'll be hosting again, Smoking the Bird. I haven't picked out all of the wine yet. I don't know. I like wine with food. I like whiskey after. That's kind of the way I work. I definitely drink whiskey while I cook the bird, but I've just never been a guy to pair a glass of whiskey like with a meal. It seems like either the whiskey overpowers the meal or the meal overpowers the whiskey. It's kind of tricky. That said, I like an old fashioned with the appetizer or drink some whiskey with bread or whatever, but that's kind of the play for us this year. See if the dog's gonna get some turkey. That's one of her favorites. But I think we'll be it'll be a full house this year. I think every seat will be occupied. The wine will be flowing. But I am curious, what you got any whiskey you're looking forward to this Thanksgiving?
I do. But before I touch on that, you have piqued my curiosity here. So when you talk about smoking a bird, let's talk about real quick. I don't want to like dive too deep down a cooking rabbit hole, but I want to hear a little bit about what is the standard weather in Wisconsin for Turkey Day and what this smoker apparatus is like. Are you using an electric? Are you smoking over charcoal? Like, let's talk just a little bit about that because I have some turkey smoking woes, even from like what should be the dog days of summer here, where it's like 45 degrees and raining and it takes 16 hours to smoke a bird. So please tell me how you are timing this and what's going on with your bird.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Okay. So first off, if you guys like meat, drop us a comment and let us know. We don't talk about it often, but it is a big passion of mine. I'm not like one of those aggressive smoker guys that's like, oh, down with Traeger. Like, I don't have a bumper sticker for my grill, but I just use a Weber. I want to say it's the 22-inch kettle, and I have the rotisserie attachment, which adds like a nice little saucy belt in the middle. It's got the rotisserie.
Love a saucy belt.
Yeah, saucy little stripe there. And then, basically, I'm usually done with the turkey. I'll put it on, I'm trying to think. It doesn't take as long as you'd think. I'll put it on probably 9-ish in the morning, and it's done by
what size
3 or
bird
4.
are we talking?
I'm trying to remember. Probably like
13,
13,
14.
14.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's like your standard turkey, 12 to 14.
Yeah, I'd say in the middle.
Okay.
It's this bird has won no awards at a state fair, and no one has looked at it and said, "Oh, it's a chicken."
Wow.
But I'd say a normal turkey. I like to give it I'll brine it for a while, then dry it off, give it the old rub, give it some butter, and then toss it right on. I like to, start some charcoal, pile it on both sides of the inside of the kettle, and then just let it spin its way to glory. And it's usually done sooner than I expect by about half an hour. I'm always trying to get that thing off by about 4, maybe 3:45, and it seems like about 3 o'clock the bird's ready to go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I dig that. You are most certainly doing better than my like standard old fashioned like Coleman R2D2 style charcoal smoker.
Oh, you're like the old smoky thing? Or
Exactly. One of those beasts. And it's like when you hit that right, it's not unbeatable, but it is exceptional.
Damn good, I bet. Yeah.
Damn good. Right. Great way to put it. But I mean, if you're trying to do like, I put it this way, I would never put that amount of pressure on Thanksgiving dinner because we try to time it around like between 2 and 3 in the afternoon. So we're doing like a late lunch, early dinner, very early dinner, because we want to have time to like hang out, have some rare breed afterwards, relax, watch Jeremiah Johnson, maybe go for a walk, whatever it is, like run the kids around, things like that. So where we're at is a little bit earlier in the day. And I mean, unless you're putting that motherfucker in at midnight.
That's not happening. Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, frequently, like there's been years not that far in the past here where we've had like 16 inches of snow the night before Thanksgiving and coming into it. And like I go to hunt with my old man and I mean, shit, by 9:30, like I'm hitting him on the radio like, are you sweating? Because I'm dying walking through all this. Like,
right.
I just had an owl almost rip my face off. I'm ready to go home. Like, let's go drink some champagne. So there are most certainly some weather fiascos that happen around Thanksgiving here in Maine. Anyhow, I mean, we had snow today as we record this. And I'm feeling like maybe smoked turkey is not on the horizon, though we have got away with it in the past, like using an electric smoker. Not quite the same, but I think maybe we just go with the oven this time. Probably the biggest bird I've done is one that we raised here actually in my place. We raised our own Thanksgiving turkeys, and the biggest of the lot was 42 pounds on the table. So a pretty good sized bird, you could say.
That's a state fair bird for sure.
That's yeah, that's a could feed a few folks type of bird. It was great. It was cool to raise our own birds, get to know where your food comes from and all that. Like, it was cool, fun experience. What I learned from all of that more than anything is that turkeys are fucking stupid. And super nice birds, but extremely dumb.
Oh man, dumb as they come.
So dumb. But also, I ordered them early enough in the season that we got to get turkey eggs, and I could make omelets from turkeys. One turkey egg makes a whole omelet, if you were curious about that.
I've never had turkey egg.
Honestly, I don't think if I served up an omelet to you with a turkey egg, you would think it was any different than a chicken egg. It tastes the damn same.
That was going to be my next question, yeah.
Duck eggs, I feel like, are mildly different. A little bit darker.
They have like a richness to them.
A little bit darker, a little bit richer. But like not wildly different flavored. But the turkey eggs, one kind of does it for you. Oftentimes 2 or 3 yolks per egg, which is wild to me. But yeah. So a 1 egg omelet sort of deal. Moving into the whiskey side of things. Moving on from weird turkey egg.
From deep tangents back on. Yeah.
Right back on topic here. Talking about actual whiskey for once. One thing that I really like to do is, and like this is kind of, no, it's not even kind of, it's actually very stupid, is I like to have a bottle of Wild Turkey 101 mixed in with the centerpiece on the table. Like, so the dinner table at my folks' place is usually like all set up beautifully like during the day. And then obviously like right before dinner, you kind of clear space so you could like put all of your different
food on it.
Yeah. Put all of your different dishes on the table throughout the day, or throughout the dinner rather. But the centerpiece during the day usually has like all of your like traditional, like, pilgrims and like whatnot on the table. And I really like to find a way to like feather in a bottle of Wild Turkey 101. So that's kind of like something that I feel like should just be in there just because it says Wild Turkey. I mean, like, while I do really enjoy Wild Turkey 101, I feel like there are plenty of other things that could also fit in there just as beautifully. But for the sake of what it is, I usually wedge that one in there. Is there one that you try to fit in during the day at all? Like, is there anything, or is it just kind of like whatever grabs your fancy in the moment?
Yeah, I'm surrounded by people who are, and this probably comes from my years of kind of running stuff on Reddit, and people are like, oh, it's Turkey Day. It doesn't matter that we just celebrated 101 Day on October 1st. Yeah, October 1st, like a couple months ago, and then on January 10th, because we have to do that too.
Of course.
I haven't ever been as loyal to wild turkey on Thanksgiving just because I kind of go with where the mood takes me. If it's cold and snowing like it was last year, I drank this really old Glengoyne that I thought was fun. It was the Glengoyne 18. It's like $140 and you can buy it everywhere. And I think it's awesome. On warmer years, like a couple years ago, it was like 50 degrees. Yeah, I was having like a nice rye pour, something sprightly and fruity and kind of zesty and fun. This year, it looks like the jury could be out. It could be like 10 degrees if the weather is living up. So I might do something like a Booker's. If I'm trying not to get like toasted by noon, probably look into one of those nice older, kind of more elegant scotches that are well composed but lower ABV. I don't know. I kind of wake up and I'll see where things are going. If I'm looking for something rich or something savory or something hot and spicy and something interesting, I'm it's very hippy dippy of me, but I kind of go where the mood takes me.
Okay. So I like that, and I could totally get on board with that. Very much weather dependent, and I keep a number of bottles at my folks' place just for that exact scenario, and that could range anywhere from like barrels dovetail into like Blanton's into like, I think I've even got something as basic as Jameson there, because you never know when you need some Jameson, especially in New England. I mean, I realize that may not be
when it works, man.
Widely acceptable, but that is a thing that happens frequently here. So there's a number of things that are on deck there, including cognac too. So when we kind of like balance back and forth between, is it too warm for that or too cold for this? I get you. I see where you're coming from. I'm also in the opinion of champagne.
Yeah, I mean, champagne's a must.
Right. You got to have bubbles.
For sure.
Of course. Champagne or a couple of beers throughout the day while you're cooking. I get that. Like, you don't want to drink a half bottle of Booker's and then try to put Thanksgiving dinner on the table for everybody, because like
we've all been to that Thanksgiving with that one uncle, and no one wants to have that.
You don't want to end up being that uncle, even though I am called Uncle Whistlepig in circles here. But like, we don't need. I've never hosted a Thanksgiving or Christmas quite like that, but I could probably do it if I tried, or didn't try, or whatever the equivalent is of keeping things in control. So yeah, absolutely. Like champagne and beers during the day, have a couple of cool pours here and there. I'm on board with all of that. But like, what's your after thing? Like, everybody's had probably a little bit too much to eat, maybe a lot too much to eat. What are you going to after? Like, what's your dessert? And then what's your pairing with dessert, or like your after dessert drink? Like, what's that après type of cocktail for you, and or sip?
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah, to put it in perspective, I'm kind of like a marathon, not a sprint guy. I love some champagne and beers, have a Miller here and there. The goal is to make it to bedtime. Good food first, good time second. But if you think about Thanksgiving in a Midwestern light, like, you have just spent the entire day building the best base that people will have all year round. Like, there is no better culinary base for a good drink than like eating for 3 hours, and most of it is protein and carbs. Like, you are ready to go. So last year, I'm trying to think. Last year I did old fashions with Knob Creek Single Barrel Reserve, which I thought was killer. I think that this year, I'm gonna do Manhattans. I'm gonna pick like a barrel proof rye. I think I guess technically it's not barrel proof. I just wrapped up a selection of a Sagamore rye. It's 7 years old. It's 55% ABV. So it's between that, proof to lower proof, but it's not going to rip your face off.
Right.
It's got enough of that oak and malt that I think it's going to be perfect for just some like nice, really dark, rich, savory Manhattans. And for folks that want a neat pour, I think Baker's is going to be where I'm going to go this year. Kind of, that 107 proof again is strong,
money,
but not too strong. Plenty of tannin. So I think those are going to be like my kind of theme for after dinner this year is big and bold, lots of flavor, and try and take it two different directions. We're going to have, like a rich, herbal, dark blackberry forward Manhattan, and then we're going to lean into that beam funk with Baker's and kind of, we'll see where we go from there. But those are the two things that I know I'm already looking forward to, which is funny because I haven't figured out half the sides, but I already know what we're drinking after dinner.
That's great, actually. I love that is where you're thinking. I love that you've got the game plan too. And even like a little bit based on weather is a really good way to look at this. where like between this week and next, things could shift enough that it gets a little bit spicy. By the time this rolls out, it might actually be right on Thanksgiving time. So I'm very excited to hear from the audience what folks are going to be getting into, what their Thanksgiving pour is, what the after dinner pour is, and or cocktail. And for me, I kind of feel like after dinner, I don't know what it is. Like it might be the French heritage in me, but like there's something about once dinner is done and dusted, the plates are cleared, we've done at least a respectable job of cleaning up and migrating to couches and or chairs. All I kind of want to do is grab a big fat snifter with a couple ounces of brandy in it and just like sit that in my palm and let that thing slowly warm as I sip and sniff and just like kind of work my way through a little bit of brandy, whether it be cognac, Armagnac, whatnot. Like I just kind of want to get into that. It's sort of like it pops out my mind, like in the way that like a chocolate cake or something like that kind of does. Like, oh, it's dessert, I want this.
Right.
So I kind of get this like, geez, I don't actually want to eat anything else because I've been eating for a couple hours and I feel like I have thoroughly gorged myself. But maybe I could fit just a tad of liquid in here. Let's go with brandy. So like that's kind of my after dinner sip. The old après for me is kind of the brandy usually. I think that's where I'm at. And sometimes when I'm feeling real spicy, it may move into like a finished whiskey or something that kind of like will cap off like a lot. I mean, like a lot of times it's pies and things like that at Thanksgiving. Like, I fucking hate pumpkin pie. I hate pumpkin everything. I think pumpkin sucks.
I knew that. I'm surprised we were 35 minutes into this episode without hearing a single word about pumpkin.
We made it this far without me bitching about pumpkin. Like, and to those of you who like pumpkin, that's fine. I get it. Like, flavor is subjective. You're wrong, and I fucking hate you. But like, pumpkin sucks, and I would rather throw up clamshells than eat a fucking pumpkin pie. But that said, there are plenty of pies out there, and most of them suck. So like, let's just get some cognac and everybody hang out.
I dig it. I like that you pointed out, you know, even when you're stuffed, we know there's a little air in there. There's room for some liquid. That's a good approach. I do picture you, not gonna lie, in like some big ass slippers and like a smoking jacket, just like in this armchair. I know Basil's like parked. Basil's his dog, by the way. Basil
is
like,
my dog. She very,
right next to the fire.
Very rarely parks it, but okay.
Well, I mean, we're dreaming. We're
dreaming.
Before Thanksgiving, nothing has gone wrong because we're only looking to the future. You know, we can dream.
Fair.
We can dream. But no, I love it. Cognac, really nice, especially as it gets cold. I think it's going to be cold as hell here. Hopefully sunny, but it's winter now, which means the sun goes away at 4 p.m. Anyways, I'm ready to embrace the darkness, the cold, a rich, savory cocktail, and some pecan pie. I think that's where a nice Manhattan pecan pie, or like a chocolate kind of, forget what it's called, chocolate tart maybe. Perfect.
Okay.
I'm not big on pumpkin myself.
No, pumpkin sucks. Of course you're not big on pumpkin. I mean, it makes sense that you, like a person who knows what tastes good, doesn't like pumpkin.
This is going to be the zestiest comment section ever. We're going to find that we're the only two people who don't like pumpkin.
Feel free to absolutely wreck us in the comments for this. Like, it's fine. I get it. It's cool if you're wrong. It's cool if you think pumpkin is good. You're totally awful, but it's great as long as everybody has what they want. And like a chocolate pie, a chocolate cream pie, whether it's a chocolate tart or any of the other things listed above, like these are all good options. As long as you're pairing them up with a delicious spirit and having a good time and enjoying yourself.
Yeah, and I guess I should say I don't hate pumpkin, but in a world where your life is short and there are so many other pies to have, it's hard for me to prioritize it over things I like better. And I've had some amazing pies in recent years, and pumpkin's in the middle at the bottom. Maybe we'll do a short on just like tier ranking the different pies, but I don't know. Fuck it.
Wow.
Pecan all the way.
I mean, in that same short, I feel like I would mention that life is the longest thing you'll ever do, and why would you waste that time having pumpkin? But Anyway,
I love it. Well,
this has been fun.